Please welcome the incredible Jillian Harris.
Thank you for having me. I always love starting my mornings out with a good podcast. And you and I have been like chatting back and forth via Instagram for a long time now. And I followed your husband for a long time and followed you. And I just love seeing your guys' journey and super excited to just chat. Like it's so fun to have somebody like you and Dan. We're all in the same community and we've got like such good pedigree in this community with so many smart people. And it's so fun to like bounce ideas off of one another and see how each other's brains work. And so excited
I
to
love
chat.
that
Thanks for
word
having me.
pedigree.
Yeah.
Sounds so sophisticated.
Yeah.
I got to start using that.
Yeah. Right.
Well, we live in the
bunch
same
of
town.
dogs. I won't be
We're
here like
influencers in Kelowna. Yeah. No, I've been a fan for the longest time because I mean, just like all the stuff that you've done, but where it really kind of hit home for me was just in you becoming a mother and that you still pursuing everything that you're pursuing and then being this awesome mom. Like you look like you have just as much fun with your kids as they do with you.
Oh, well, if you ask them, they would probably disagree. Yesterday was an interesting day. I got called some choice words, worst mom in the world. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I definitely feel like I fed into this culture in the early days of that you could have babies and also be an entrepreneur and also have a flower farm and also start a business and also give back to your community and also be a mom and also, but I will start off this podcast by saying it all comes at a cost. And maybe it's possible for some people that you can do it all and do it all well. But for me, it took me 8 years to realize that the tangible things that I knew I could control and get done, like accomplish, were the things that I was putting most of my energy into. And of course, I love being a mom. I made sure my kids survived. They ate well. They had a beautiful house. They traveled well. Their Christmases were magical. Their Easters were magical. But like, what really, really, really matters with being a mom is being present and connecting. And I can't say I did that perfectly over the last 8 years. And I think it was because I was always chasing something else. And I feel guilty about that, but also you can't, I always just look at the silver linings. Like there's other beautiful outcomes of the last 8 years. I have no regrets, so to speak, but, I don't know. I think at one point, all these things were so important to me, and it wasn't just about me. It was like about having a safe place for people to work, being able to donate back into my community, being able to inspire other women, being able to help other small businesses like that. All of that was important to me. And I've taught that to my children. But I realized that there is no end to what I can take on. And at some point I had to start to say like no, because ultimately it would affect how present I was with my kids or how much capacity I had at the end of the day, how much energy I had with them, how much creativity was left for them. And like, of course, and I'll stop talking after this because I want to hear you talk too, but there's this quote going around that I'm sure we've all seen, is that as you live throughout your life, you will know your kids mostly as adults.
Yes.
It is a very, very short time that you'll get to know them as kids. And now my kids are already almost 9 and 7. And like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't wish I could redo it, but I wish I could just go back and do it again. Kind of like, I wish I could just really soak in those moments again. Maybe I did, but I'm sure as a mom, like you forget, you think like, did I soak it in enough? Like, was I present enough? Like, did I fuck these kids up? Like, I don't know.
By the way, we will no matter what. And
Right.
I know that because same with me is when I started my last agency, my babies like Max and Noah were born in the same year. And people were saying,
is that how close they are together?
11 months apart. Yeah, they're crazy. Just don't do that.
Irish twins.
Don't say this. But I remember people were saying, you're such a power couple. Look at you, go mom, you're a power mom. I was like, oh yeah, I love this label. I love this title. And I lived it and it burnt me out.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, Great. This is so part of the reason why we're world schooling is to like get those last moments in because they'll be in grade 7 and 8 next year.
Right.
So even
Okay,
this morning, like Noah's out in the hot tub at like 6 a.m. because that's what kids do.
yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go be with him.
Yeah.
And he was just circling around and he's like leaning back, like he owns the place. And he's like, yeah, this is great. We just chatted. But those were moments that I wouldn't invest in earlier because I was so busy working.
Yeah. Right.
I get it.
Totally. Yeah, it is really interesting. And I really do think, I mean, you could disagree with me. I do think it's different for women than it is for men.
Yeah.
Like we are like, especially if you saw like the impact during COVID, like how many women had to leave the workforce and whatnot. Like it is just different. I mean, maybe it's not different for all families, but anyhow, yeah. So to go back to your comment, thank you for being inspired by me. I just always sometimes wonder too, like, did I do damage to other families? Like, did I inspire them to like go and start these businesses and quit their jobs and be entrepreneurs when really like they could have just like they were good enough? Like, you're good enough. You know what I mean?
That's
like
a big reason. So thank you for saying that because that is a big reason why I started the Pink Skirt Project.
Right.
Because like we talk about these women as an example being like a stay-at-home mom wanting to start a side hustle.
Yeah.
What about it going the other way? What about being the person that has the business and becoming the stay-at-home mom? Like, let's just love and embrace everything that we really want.
Totally.
So with this, I feel like we shared similar journeys when our kids were younger.
Yeah.
Do you think having kids helped you with your time management? Has it improved your time management?
100%. I am and I know you are the same for sure. I am a master time blocker. Like we have color code, we have family calendars, we have personal calendars, and I am so rigid with my calendar. Like a podcast, I will only do on a Monday. I will only do it on my like content creation day. I'm only doing that stuff on a Monday. Tuesday, Wednesdays are meetings. I have a hard stop on meetings at like 3:30. So my kids walk in the door, I can like be there to greet them. And then once they get settled, then I do like my emails and I wrap up for the day. Like I am hardcore. Like I am so rigid with my calendar. I never work Fridays. I never take a meeting Friday. I never talk about work on Fridays, like hardcore. And I've done that for 6 years now. Thursdays, I also don't take meetings unless it's an absolute emergency. So that's my creative day. But you know, the kids, weekends, I'm so hard. Like I will work on a weekend, but you got to pay me a lot of money.
Yeah.
I need to make a lot of money to work on a weekend, or there has to be a personal benefit. Like, like the families gets to go on a vacation or something. And then I do an appearance, you know,
or so you're so plugged into community stuff too. So there's like the charitable side of things too.
I still won't do that on a weekend.
No, good for you.
I still won't do that on a weekend.
So this like people look at you like you've achieved a lot, you've accomplished a lot. And we always wonder, how can you do this and not work on a Friday or not work after 3:30? You must be the queen of saying no.
Yeah, I just said no this morning and it broke my heart because I had two people that sent me voice notes and they're like, it would mean so much to us. And I'm like, it's not, I would have to sacrifice one of my kids' baseball games, or I'd have to sacrifice like plans. I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. No. And so I would do a community event on the weekend, like say if it was like the August rally and the whole kids get to go down and we get to go down as a family, I'd do something like that. But I watch my stories and catch me and let me know. But I'm pretty firm. And I think it was just that I had so much overwhelming guilt. And also I wasn't taking care of myself. So Fridays are my day that I drop off the kids and I go to the fusion yoga and then I go do like a sauna cold plunge, or I'll go to Costco, or I'll go for lunch or have a tequila with the girls. Like I'll do, but did I say Fridays? Those are my Fridays. Like those are usually me days. And I found the more I prioritize that, then the better mom I could be and the better boss I could be. And the reason how that started was I had Annie and she was at home and she went to preschool Tuesdays, Thursdays. She had Melissa, our nanny, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays was I wanted to be with her. But then once she got into kindergarten, I realized that now those days were for me. I had gotten 2 kids from preschool to kindergarten and my Fridays was reserved for them. And so now Fridays are reserved for me. So, and then sometimes I'll do a date with Justin. We'll go to sauna cold plunge, or, you know, like it's kind of my wellness day. So Fridays I don't budge. And Thursdays, I can't be creative or come up with the new ideas or design a new product if I'm in a meeting.
Yeah.
And then people expect you to do it. Like, another thing that people don't recognize is my business is connecting with people online, right? So the biggest issue I've had for the last 5 years is Mondays I do shoots or podcasts. Tuesday, Wednesdays, I'm in meetings. Thursday, I'm being creative. Friday, I'm off. When do I connect with my community? So oftentimes it's happening on the weekends and evenings, which I've been trying to change for the last 5 years. So my system isn't perfect because I still am like, oh, I've got to create content, and I'm doing it while my kids are around. And
it's
but
tough.
then when my family's not included in on my stories, I lose engagement because that's what people want.
That's so crazy. I put out, I mean, my following isn't as big as yours. It's enough that people want to hear about your behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I'm like, my behind the scenes is so boring. Like, I can't believe people actually want to hear about the fact that I go to bed at 9.
I bet you it's not boring. I want to know your behind the scenes.
Oh God. Okay.
I want to know you.
I will start sharing more.
Yeah. I don't think it's boring. I think it will be boring in that, like, you go to bed early and that there's no excitement. I think that would inspire people. I think people
Possibly, or that I went to Sephora yesterday and I bought, I don't know if you do this, $150 worth of lip gloss to see which one I actually like the best.
That's product testing. You're product testing. It's important.
That's so important.
And yes, I do. And yes, I do that.
But I want the glossy lips without it being sticky. And I was like, we don't know until you put it on. So anyways.
We're going to get way off topic, but I can't do glossy because I always feel like I feel sweaty or something.
Oh, no, it looks good. It's what all the young kids are doing these days.
I know.
Okay, yeah. So I found a good one. I don't know. I won't share this because I don't even know how to pronounce it. But anyways, back to business. Okay. I want to talk about, so this was really important. The scheduling thing is huge because you are working out, growing your business. And the reality is, it's not that you have to do more. It's that you have to do more of what matters. So saying no to more things.
And you have to be more strategic. Justin will often say, I'm not one of your business partners or something. I'm not one of your employees or something like this. You can't treat this like a business. And I'm like, sometimes you actually do have to treat family like a business. If you know how to run a business successfully, you can apply those same strategies to your family in terms of like communication and scheduling and strategy and values and whatnot. So I know, I feel like you and Dan feel similarly about that.
Yes, totally. I think we wrote one of the handbooks on that.
Yeah, I think it is. Unfortunately, I think before you have babies in a household, you can just be in love and be crazy and just be reckless and like whatever happens, happens. But once you start to have a household and multiple properties or businesses and kids, somebody needs to take minutes.
That's it. So I have a question that's not on the list, but I think this is really poignant, is the mummy guilt of outsourcing caretaking to somebody else. Right. So we have a house manager, Betty. She's amazing. She does so much for us. She picks up the kids after school. She'll bring them to haircuts, sometimes to the dentist, although most medical stuff I like to do. And it took forever to get over the guilt of having somebody else do that. Did you ever have it?
I cannot wait to ask my kids as adults what they thought about Melissa Jackson, who's here right now. She was just doing she's here all the time. She's been with us for 10 years. She started off as a house cleaner. Actually, Justin met her at the gas station. She used to work at the gas station. And then she started cleaning house for us. And then we had a nanny for a very, very short time. And she decided to travel the world. And Melissa overheard me that I was looking for a nanny. And she had like a pack of cigarettes like tucked into her bra. And she's like big personality. And she's like, I'll do it. And I was like, do you have any experience taking care of children? She's like, no. I'm like, do you have any credentials? No. I'm like, can you drive a car? I know she can clean the house. I know we like her energy. So she has been that person for us since both babies were infants.
That's awesome.
So she works 5 days a week and she's in our house 5 days a week. And she also does, so we do drop off. She does pick up. Only person who does pick up, like only parent that does pick up is I do pick up on Fridays. She also takes the kids to like, dance if they have to go to dance, or sometimes my schedule, like if I'm done a meeting at 3:30 and I feel like I'm caught up, then I'll say to her, like, I'll go pick up Leo, but I have the option, which is super nice. And she manages, like, just like you, I'm sure, like if the pool guys need to come, she will make the phone call. If something didn't get, if something needs to be fixed, she'll sort of manage that, which is wonderful. And I do not feel guilt at all because she is so good with the kids. She brings a different layer to the kids that Justin and I don't bring. Like they'll be downstairs after school and I'm like, what in the hell is going on down there? Like screaming, like playing, screaming. Like there's like, I could hear tackling, scream like, wah! And I'm like, it literally sounds like there's three like children down there. Like she's so engaged with the kids, and she laughs with them. And so like she can bring this different safety for the kids, like a different adult to the kids. Yeah, I hope that the kids will grow up to say like, wow, we were so lucky to have a third person involved. So I feel guilt about a lot of things, but I do not feel guilt about her, because the flip side is, so there's a few different ways that many families work, but the flip side is your kids could be in like a lot of kids have to go to daycare before school and daycare after school, which also that's really beautiful in a way, because I try to find the silver lining to all. But like one of the things I don't like about our kids' situation is they don't have any neighborhood kids to play with. That we just don't have that in our where we live on our street. And so I really think about the after school relationships and play and like biking up and down the street, and like our kids just don't have that. So I do think it would be, there's an option. And then the other option is what is the other option? What do parents do? They have to go to daycare.
Grandma or grandpa.
Grandma and grandpa, that's fun and beautiful too. Or you're a stay-at-home mom, which can also be beautiful. I know that I have been a workaholic since I was like 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
And my mom's the same. My dad's the same. Like I know that I need something else in order to be the best mom.
Same.
I know that.
Yeah.
So I think that people will listen to podcasts like this. And my biggest ask is that you don't try to fit into my category, because there's all different types of families, all different types of people, all different types of children. Do your children have special needs? Maybe you can't even afford, like maybe the problem is you both partners maybe work for the government or have to have two jobs. They have to be in a daycare or they have to be with grandma and grandpa. And I just think there's a beautiful way of looking at each independent scenario and trying to find the beauty in that scenario, and not trying to say like, I wish that I could have been a stay-at-home mom, or I wish that we could have had a nanny and a house manager, or I wish that the grandparents could have taken care. Like it doesn't work that way. So I don't feel guilty about Melissa though.
The boys, when they were younger, we lived on the East Coast, and it's like every kid went to after school care. Right. Every single kid. So the buses at the school that were dropping kids off at home were the kids that were like 12 years old and older. But anything younger, there's special daycare buses that brings them from school to daycare.
Right.
So we would, and it was great. I loved that for them because they had like their buddies and they got all their energy out. And like now it's a different story.
I will say that I do wish that there was better. This is obvious. I'm going to be like, no shit, Sherlock. I wish that our economy was better to a point that moms or dads, families had a choice, that if they wanted, like when we started taking the kids to daycare, they were 11 months and they did not have to go to daycare. I chose to go back to work, and I didn't choose to go back to work just for me. I had employees that relied on me. I had businesses, small businesses that relied on me. I felt the pressure that I had to go. And the kids could have just stayed at home with Melissa, but I put them into after school care for the socialization. And I wanted like somebody who had like early childhood development skills to be with my kids a couple days a week. But like when I look at, for example, I have a girlfriend, and their kids at 11 months had to go to daycare first thing in the morning and in the evening, because both parents had to, because of financial reasons, work an 8 to 5 job. So the kids have to go to school, to preschool at 7:30 when they're 1 year old in the morning, and get picked up at 5:30. To me, fundamental, like for me, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. But maybe not. Like, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's okay.
And that's the only thing they know.
We're being raised by a community. Maybe it's okay.
Yeah. So I have a friend whose son, so she works for UPS, and I think her shift starts at like 3 a.m. And so 5 days a week, she would wake up her son at whatever time in the morning, bring him to grandma and grandpa's, and he'd go back to bed, and she'd go to work. And I'm like, what am I complaining about? That seems like a lot. And they just got used to it.
Yeah.
And that was the norm. And he was able to fall back asleep.
And maybe it's what makes kids resilient. And like I said, that sucks. But they're being raised by a community. There's other kids. And so when you're around all those kids, then you're being raised by other cultures and other families. Because I don't know, like there's so many different ways to look at things. And I often...
You just know intuitively what's good for your kids.
Yeah, totally.
And for me, the guilt was really just about worrying what my parents would think. Because they would say like these like offhand remarks like, oh, must be nice. I'm like, it actually is. But am I supposed to feel guilty about this? So we found our Betty at IHOP.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Similar story. Yeah. Love that.
She made pancakes. And now let me tell you, wow, she manages all of our cars.
Wow.
Our trips, like insurance, anything. It's beyond just
I was thinking about you guys the other day. I was wondering who your Melissa Jackson was.
Yeah, Betty.
You also have an EA, or does Betty do it all?
Dan has an EA. Dan's EA has an assistant.
Yeah, okay.
I have an assistant. There's a lot of people that make the greasy
or whatever.
Grease
your household runs smoothly.
Exactly. And so we have a dog, and so she takes care of the dog when we travel. But she's coming here on the weekend. And
it would be really nice to get those two together.
Oh my gosh. Share playbooks.
Because, sorry, I don't know what you need to cut out of this podcast or what you're going to put in there, but I'm sure people will listen to this and also think it must be nice. And it is really nice. It is really lovely.
100%.
I am very, very
all the time. Like people want to know, what do they do? Yeah. How did you find them? Like, how do you train them?
But there is no this isn't talked about a lot. There's actually somebody I follow on Instagram, and she actually teaches a course about being a house manager, and she sells a course. But like, how did you train Betty? And like, what? Like, I would love to just speak. Like, we can do a whole other meeting about this, but I often feel sorry for Melissa because she's kind of feels like a lone ranger. She doesn't know anybody else that does this kind of job. She doesn't know how she can do it better, or what she's like, or how she could teach. Like, maybe there's something our family is doing that you could benefit from.
100%.
And then also, how can we so let's say you don't have a full-time Betty or Melissa, but like, what are strategies you can take from that, even as a couple, and implement it into your life?
Oh, everything. Like, first of all, I didn't even know it was an option to get this help. I felt guilty. Right. And then she would get so good at something that what would normally take a previous person a week to do, she'd do it in a day.
Right.
Then it's like, well, maybe we'll just train you up on something else. But every single thing that she was trained to do, we had her create the playbook for it. So she has like the standard operating procedure for how to run a household.
That's awesome. I love that.
It's very unique to everybody's needs. Right. Our needs are different than yours, different than Bobby's up the street. Yeah. But I will say, in having somebody come and do these things for our kids actually allows me to have more time with them, more quality time with them.
Yes.
That's the end goal in all of this. And like, hey, if I want to work, I can work. If I want to travel, I can travel. I love to bring my kids with me with help.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still unpacking my parenting style. I had a really, really guilty day yesterday because we had no plans yesterday. And I could have been playing a board game with the kids or outside playing catch with them. But Justin was working on the yard and I decided to make cookies and like I like these tasks, right? So I was busy in the kitchen and I was getting ready. I was doing I love organizing. Like I could have had another business, just organize. So I was organizing and puttering away and the kids were watching TV and they were like being creative and they were playing outside. But later on, a meltdown happened. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, we've had such a great weekend. Like, what is happening? And Leo said, what's the point of even having a mom? Like, you're just always busy doing something. And I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, should I have been like, I'm not a good player. I was playing race. What do you want to call it? Race cars, remote
Video
control
game?
cars with them for a bit.
Okay.
But I'm thinking like, I don't know if my parents did that for me. They were always busy. Like on Saturdays and Sundays, the house had to get clean and laundry had to get done and shirts had to get ironed. And I worked out in the yard with them. And so like, what am I doing wrong? I still don't know if
I'm
I
the same. I'm totally the same as you. And then I see there's people that are always playing with their kids. And I'm like, oh, how do you learn that skill to want to do those things? Because I don't want to.
We went for dinner at my cousin's last night and we drove by this family and they were playing corn toss or whatever it's called, cornhole. And just the three of them on a Sunday night. Like I was just like, wow, that's an interesting concept.
To actually be involved. I know. And the boys ask me to play soccer with them sometimes or video games. I'm like, dude, no, we'll not, but we'll do something else together. So what we've done is we actually have the boys write a list of the stuff that they love to do. And then we circle the things we can do as families. And so every weekend we pull from this Post-it note of stuff we can do together. We'll go play laser tag together, go karting.
Right. That's true. Yeah. We do all those things. Like Justin's going to go karting with Leo this weekend. I'm taking Annie to Vancouver. Like, yeah. So for sure. Yeah. I just think as a mom, you're always, as a parent, you're always, you can have a Melissa, you can have a Betty, you can literally have like everything dialed into the tits and still be beating yourself up that you didn't do a good enough.
100%. Well, even for everything in your business, as a partner, in your health journey, nothing's ever perfect. And it's not supposed to be. And I don't think that as parents, we're meant to be our kids' entertainers because then they need to get bored. Right. They need to have meltdowns because it kind of tests their boundaries too. Yeah. But I think from what I see, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. I think we are too. But yeah, it's not perfect. And we tell the kids all the time, like, hey, I've never done this before. I have never parented before. Like, I am sorry, but I am doing my best. Like, you're right. That probably wasn't handled properly. I'm doing my best. One thing we do is we apologize to the kids a ton. And we always explain to the kids, like, we are learning too, and we're trying to figure this all out and nobody's perfect. And, we'll figure this out as a family.
Perspective. I never thought of, sometimes we get frustrated. I don't so much anymore, but I'll sometimes yell at my kids because it's kind of like that was like the last straw. Yeah. And I learned that it's okay as long as you apologize. So and then that behavior they pick up on. So now I'll see it and the boys will come up to me and they'll apologize for how they acted. I was like, I'm doing something right.
You're doing something
And then they also swear when they stub their toes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, no, don't say that.
Oh, yeah. The words that came out yesterday were very interesting, but they come by it honestly.
I love this conversation. I think it's so important. And it took me forever to actually talk about like the Bettys and the Melissas of the world because there was part of me that felt so entitled. It felt like a pretentious thing to have this help. But when you actually look back at what it's like to raise a child and to actually operate a household, there was always somebody else involved, whether it was like grandma or grandpa or, a cleaning person.
For some people.
For some people. Exactly. For a lot of people. And they won't even talk about it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I mean, I have definitely gotten the comments about Mel, but we love her. We pay her well. She's a part of our family. It's just another employee in our business that helps us with the things that mean the most. I mean, I don't
I
know.
bet you treat her like family too.
Oh yeah, totally. This morning she came and I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I have anxiety. I'm like, I know, I'm so sorry. Me too. On Monday morning, I have anxiety too. I'm like, we're going to get through this week. It's going to be a busy week, but we'll get through this week. But we are, I mean, when you've been around somebody in your house for 10 years, 5 days
Yeah.
a week.
They
Yeah.
know everything.
Yeah. They know everything.
They've seen it
Melissa, when
all.
I die, Melissa should write her own book.
Oh, geez.
She should write her own book.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so great question though. So for the listeners who aren't in this position in their life and have the resources available to get this help, but they believe in it, what are some simple steps that they can start doing to actually achieve getting a version of a Melissa or a Betty?
I
Think
mean,
about where you guys started.
So for me, what I've always is I love lists. I love lists and I use Siri. I would say start to use Siri. If you don't have your own EA, Siri is a great free EA. I use Siri for adding things to my grocery list, which is a shared grocery list. I use Siri to remind me of things that I want to think about before Christmas next year. I'll say like, hey Siri, remind me on December 1st to tell Justin what scent of Joe Malone candle I want, because I know that in December, him and his dad go to Joe Malone, they get me candles, and oftentimes I'm like, oh God, this isn't the candle that I want. And on December 1st,
I added that for just
she's
December 1st, something will come up and it will remind me of this. These are silly little things, but I can say like, hey Siri, remind me to enroll the kids into dance camp next Wednesday before the cutoff. Like, so I'm always driving and I'm always thinking like, shit, I have to remember to do this. I have to do this. And I always say, hey Siri, remind me to do this. And you can tell her what you need and when you need it by to remind you. So it can just be like a general remind me thing, or it can be remind me tomorrow, remind me in an hour, remind me in 3 years. It can be any of those things. I use Siri religiously and I use that reminder list. So when I sit down at my computer Monday or Thursday, those are my computer times, I look at my reminders and then I take those reminders and I plug them into my calendar. Yeah. If you don't plug them into your calendar, there's never going to be time to do them. So I take those reminders and I time block when would make sense to do those things and what can I possibly shop out to my husband or my mom, or what can I get somebody else to do for me. House cleaning is a hard one. I know so many people really have a hard time biting the bullet on house cleaning, but I know you and Dan have talked about this so many times, so it'll be repetitive possibly for your community, but I just want to reiterate to figure out what your time is worth. And so maybe you can't afford to have it done every week. Maybe you can't afford to have it done every month, but then maybe for Mother's Day or for Christmas or your birthday, you're saying, that's what I want. I want somebody to come in and clean the house. Mm-hmm. And then, so for me, I actually love cleaning the house and I love organizing. I really enjoy doing it. But I have I'm like, possibly borderline neurotic and how I like the house to feel and look. And so I can't do that if I'm working all day. And then when I'm with the kids, we like to travel. We're down at baseball. Like I also truly think that the more organized your home is and the more clean your home is, the better you can think and the calmer, the better it is for your nervous system. And so your nervous system is really important. And when there's clutter everywhere and you can't find things, that you'll feel it I think will lend to the anxiety. So anyways.
When we got to this Airbnb, I don't even know, maybe it's an Airbnb. Anyways, this house we rented in Austin, I walked into the pantry and you can tell it's a place that's rented and there's always like extra dishes and extra rack things for the oven. And like someone had a birthday party and I walked in, I go, I got to reorganize this thing. Yeah. And I did. I took everything out, cleaned it, got little buckets. And we're here. I
love that kind of stuff.
So like Martha Stewart would be proud.
She would be so proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say you have $0 to spend, $0, use Siri, and then sit down for 20 minutes once a week and time block it all. And then once you've done that, you're going to realize there's actually going to be a system on what days you do what. So like categorize your week for your personal tasks. Like for me, there's certain things I just do on Tuesday, Wednesday, but I don't do it on Monday. And I try to end my week with a calmed nervous system. And that is giving myself, so Fridays, let's say you may have to work till 5, but how can you set yourself up that Friday evening? Is there 1 hour that you can
just relax?
So that's if you have $0. The second thing is if you have any excess income, any excess income, my number one thing is to invest in your team, whether that be in if you're an entrepreneur or even if you're a family. Invest in a team of like who can help you with these things. If you have any excess money, who can clean the house, who can help you with the yard work, who can help you organize, any kind of apps, any kind of people. I think that because you end up being a martyr otherwise.
And to add to this is if you have somebody that's, for instance, a cleaning person in your house, you have to be creative and think outside the box of how you can leverage that person's availability. And one thing could be that they can do groceries for you. Or, sometimes cleaning crews don't do laundry. Just ask them. We used to have one person come for 1 day a week and her shift was like 6 hours. Yeah. But then I just found myself like inching closer to the end of the week with so much extra laundry and stuff to do. I said, can we just divide this time in two and you come on Tuesdays and Fridays? And it worked out perfectly. So I never had to go to the grocery store or do laundry.
Another thing that I do is I order all my groceries online. Yeah. And so I do use Instacart, and I know I'm paying a premium for that. I know I need to get away from Instacart, but if you go straight to Costco or straight to Walmart, they do free deliveries. And people are always like, oh, but I'm worried they're going to screw up my order. They're so good. If you get a kale that literally has like one little wilty piece, you can ask for a refund and no questions asked. They'll just refund your account. People will deliver it to your door. Walmart is $10 a month for the unlimited deliveries. You could order groceries 3 times a day if you want to, unlimited. So for me, when the kids come home and they're decompressing and watching the little show, I will cuddle up on the couch with them and I will order groceries as opposed to going out. And I mean, I like going grocery shopping, but the problem is I'm a bit of a loose cannon when I go grocery shopping. I'm just buying all these things. I'm trying all these different like cultural foods and all these different jams and jellies, like so many condiments. So I need to just have a list and just order my list. But I think if anybody's listening and they're like, I have $0 to put to this, Siri, time block, make sure Siri's like, what do you want? Make sure your time blocking goes to your phone. Like make sure they sync from your computer to your phone. Get a shared family calendar. Make sure like that's really important. You can also have Siri does a shared grocery list. So you or your husband or your kids can say like, hey, Siri, put like bananas on the grocery list, and they'll go on the grocery list. And whoever is doing the grocery shopping, they'll have access to the same list.
I didn't know that. I use another app. I forget what it's called, like Listicle or something. What's it called?
She just added bananas to the grocery list.
No, you got extra bananas.
No, because the other app, like, do you have to actually type it in?
Yeah, but it just uses the same grocery list from last time. You check it off. So I share the list with Betty, so she gets notification anytime I add something.
Right.
And then vice versa. Yeah. So I don't have to say.
I have to do this too, but it's just, hey, Siri.
Well, I didn't know that.
And there was something else. I use talk to text for everything.
Me too.
I use talk to text for literally everything.
But Betty's always Buddy. I go, can you just be okay with the fact that you're Buddy and not Betty?
My employees I think they're actually doing a spoof reel because I'm always like ... I'll walk around the house and I'll be like ... And even Annie's sick. She's like, why do you always say ... And I'm like, exclamation mark.
So I use Voxer with my team. Okay. And because I do both voice to text, I'll send a Vox with a voice note.
Oh, no.
I'll be like, hey, Morgan, exclamation mark. I hope you had a really great weekend, exclamation mark.
But you're actually talking.
I'm telling her. She's like, Renee.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, yep. Yeah. Well, that's what you get working with me.
Yeah. But yeah. So anyways, I don't know. And for people that are listening, it has not always been this way for me. I have not always been good with money. I have not always made a lot of money. So when I was in my mid-20s, I had to remortgage. I racked up my credit cards. I've always loved working, but I've always loved spending. I always lived outside of my means. When I came off The Bachelor, they paid me $100,000 and I spent that $100,000 so fast, you would not even, it'd make your head spin. I still had like a second mortgage. It was so bad until I realized I did not want to live in this debt anymore. I just so badly wanted to live within my means and I so badly wanted to save. And I just with anything, like with your health, with anything, like at some point you have to just, I always ask myself, what part of discomfort do I want to be in? Like it's going to be uncomfortable regardless, but where do I want to be uncomfortable? And so I remember taking out $100 all in 20s and putting them in an envelope Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that was my spending money, $20 each day. And that's it. No credit cards, no nothing. And I did this for probably like 2 years. I remember I had shoes that were falling apart, clothes that were falling apart. I haven't always lived like this. Of course, my career has like allowed me to have some more financial freedom. But the very, very first things I did was always investing in investing in people to help me invest, like I had a financial advisor when I had no pot to piss in. I had nothing. I had $50 to my name and I got a financial advisor. Please help me figure out how I could be financially free one day. Please, I want to retire one day. I want to own my own house. I want to buy a $50 candle. Like this is the things that I was like, I want to be able to do this and not put it on my credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are also not $50 anymore, but yeah.
I love this perspective too, because this success is available to anybody.
Right.
And it's like, you've been through it. I've been through it. We were in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt not that long ago. Like the kids were so young. And one day it was kind of like, wait a second, we need to come out of this. So that forcing function for us to get our stuff together is now it's just compounds, because you have the system set up, the people in place. It's a lot easier now, but it is available to anybody. You just got to believe that they deserve it too.
I also read the most amazing thing on Instagram the other day, and it's like, I already knew it. Like I already knew this information, but the way she said it was so profound. And it made me want to like reiterate it to my kids and reiterate it to anybody that's listening, is you are what you believe in yourself, and you are how you speak to yourself. And it was about these two friends, and just about how one thought so positively about herself and how the other one was so down on herself. And so the friend had said, you are what you say about yourself. And then the other one joked like, yeah, I'm fat and broke. And she's like, exactly. Because that's how you believe about yourself. That's how you talk. That's how you talk about yourself.
Anita Parker.
Yes.
What I love about her is anytime that I'll say something like, oh, I'm not creative or I'm not punctual.
Yeah.
She'll always say, hey, I don't like the way you talk to my friend.
Oh, yeah.
But
she
it's
said
like,
this to me once.
To me. And I'm like, oh, I know, you're so right. It was just so like the visceral feeling of I should not talk to myself like that.
That's the cheapest, easiest way to start, is to look at yourself in the mirror, and all the things that you're hating or all the things that you're feeling like you could change, is tell yourself you are those things. You are successful. You are a good mom. You are healthy. You do care about your body. You are beautiful. That is the freest, best first way to start, is just convince yourself, because you can actually change the patterns in your brain. Like you can actually change the way you think, and that will hopefully help you take that first step to set you up for success.
That's the only way to do it. And especially to like enjoy the success when it comes,
and then enjoy it and not feel guilty about it.
And not feel guilty about getting a Betty or a Melissa.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We can definitely do a part 2 on this.
Okay.
What we'll do is we'll get Melissa and Betty together, and they'll create their own show.
She's crunching some kind of numbers over here. What are you doing? Oh, she's paying the weed man. She's crunching numbers. She's
love it. Okay.
Okay. I feel like we literally just started 10 minutes ago. I feel like I could chat with you for hours, and I would love to come back and chat. These are all super important conversations.
We'll do in person next time.
And I would also love to hear from this community. What did we talk about today that you agree with or disagree with, or would like to challenge or want to unpack more? Like, even if it has to do with like, adding these systems to your life, but not being able to afford, like, what did you hear that you wanted to challenge, or like, that doesn't make sense to you? Like, I always do these kinds of podcasts, and I always think like, how are people reacting? How are they like, it's just, unfortunately, I got trolled, been trolled so much in my life. I always think like, what could people be saying negative from what I said? But I'm curious to know, like, what are your thoughts on what we said, and how maybe could we follow up with that? Because the reason why I do these podcasts is I want to be able to share some of my wins and fails with others, so they can either do the same as me or do different than me, so that we can all like enrich our own lives. I do feel that for our kids and our kids and whatnot, we don't live in a community like we did back in our grandparents' age. So this is my way of living as a community and learning from one another. And I want our community to be rich and connected and successful, so that we are not as divided as the years go on. That, I mean, it's election day today, and that's where I'm going after my hair appointment. And it's not about the election. It's about the dividedness that hurts me so bad for our kids. Mm-hmm. And how can we get back to humanity and being connected as a community?
I agree. Bring back the village. That's what we got to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So before you get your hair done, before you go change the nation.
Yes. Okay.
Can you tell me, what does it mean to be a wild woman?
Oh gosh. Well, for me, I wish Justin was standing right here, and he was 2 seconds ago. But for me, it's just challenging the norm. Like it's living your purest, authentic self, and without hurting others, challenging and saying no, and saying, I want to do things differently, and this is how I do things, and unapologetically living your truest self. And also knowing that life is short. Life is really short. And I don't want to have regrets at the end of the day of like the trip that I didn't take, or the thing that I didn't say, or like I don't know, the risk I didn't take. So I think for me, when I think of a wild woman, I think Justin would be laughing, because he's like, oh God, here she comes again. Like he always says, like, are you out of your mind? Like, we're not doing that. Like, we may be getting 2 pets at once in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? I'm like, because you only live once. And he's like, but why can't we get them at different times in the same life? I'm like, because it's more fun to get them at the same time.
Exactly.
I love throwing
the best things come in twos.
Yeah. I love throwing big parties. I love celebrating people. I love like go big or go home. Like I love to talk fast. I love to say yes, although lately I've been saying a lot of no's. I love to give her shit. I want people to look back at my legacy and be like, she was like out of control in a good way.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I feel all of that.
Yeah.
So if people want to go online to find you, what's the best place?
Probably Instagram. Jillian.Harris on Instagram. That's the best place. And to know that I'm a human being, not a robot. So my content evolves. Some days I want to talk about politics and mental health, and I want to tell you all about the death in the family. And some days I just want to be at work and I don't want to share anything. Some days I'm passionate about recycling, and the next day I'm passionate about going to Vegas and getting drunk. I don't know. Like I am just like, I try to share it all there, and I've evolved over the years.
You can recycle in Vegas too, just saying, you know.
Yeah. But like don't come to my page looking for the same thing for the next 20 years. It's gonna
And I love how much you have such a big heart and how much you care. That is so important.
Thank you.
Oozes out of you in the best way possible.
Thank you. Well, not always. I mean, I can be cranky and have my boundaries.
For sure.
I just feel very, 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 very blessed with the life that I've been given. And I want to be able to share it with as many people as I can, because it's no fun if you don't share it.
That's it. And this will be shared. I love it. Okay, you got to get your hair done.
Yeah, I'm going to get my hair done.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I absolutely loved having you.